Hey everybody! So we're going to look at kind of how to truly be your best self. I think it's really important when we're looking at growing and developing and becoming better people that it's important to take advice, to take tips, to be open to learning because, chances are somebody, even if they're younger than you, even if they're 20, 30 years older than you, everyone has got something to teach you. There is a lesson in every person, in every situation. And if you choose to believe it, every situation you find yourself in, the positive and the not so positive, is there to grow you. It's happening exactly as it should to grow you and develop you as a person. That's genuinely a matter of perception as well, and you're in control of that. But before we get into kind of proper tips about kind of being your best self, if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe and hit that notifications bell, because that means you'll get a little notification every time I upload a brand new video. And also check out the links below. There's a link actually to my ebook, Are You a Banana, with all the tools and techniques that I've used to change my life and to change the lives of others. And there's also links to all my other social media, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Twitter might not be down there actually, but my Instagram will be down there, my LinkedIn will be down there. So check them out. And please give them a like or a follow. I'd really appreciate it. So how to be your best self. Now, firstly, it's really important to kind of say, best self is very much interpretation. It's very much like when I talk about, when you are wanting to be perfect or you've got goals or dreams. My goals and dreams, my version of perfection will be very, very different to your version of perfection. And that's beautiful. And the same with the best self. What I see as my version of my best self, will be very different to yours, obviously, because we're very different people, but maybe I have got a hope or a dream for you. Again, that perception is very different. My perception of what I think might be best for you, it could be way off what could be best for you. And that's definitely something that personally, on my journey, I definitely have to work on. I have quite high standards for myself that I'm working on, but sometimes I have the habit of naturally not feeling that everyone should, but just forgetting that people are different. And people will have different views on what's right and what's wrong and what's perfect and not perfect, or what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So it's really important to remember, as you go through walks of life, everybody is different. They're going to react differently to the standards that you may have. And that's not to say your standards are wrong or their standards are wrong. They're just different. There's no kind of right or wrong when it kind of comes to this. So when we're looking at becoming our best selves, I'm just going to give you simple tips and tools, I think, because it's really easy to kind of overwhelm and it's quite a lot to fit into a video. But firstly, it's something I talk about a lot with my clients. It's about feeding your mind, and it's about putting yourself in situations that are going to help you to grow. So feeding your mind, what does that mean? It doesn't mean going to your head and trying to put a chocolate bar into it. It's about treating your environment, the things you do, as nourishment for your brain. Do you read? Do you watch telly? Do you play video games? Do you go on the computer a lot? Do you go for walks? How are you feeding your mind? Because chances are, if you're the type of person, it's not a criticism, but chances are, if you are the type of person who likes to gravitate maybe towards the news, reads a lot of the papers, a lot of the headlines, chances are that sort of stuff sometimes triggers you and fucks you off and makes you a little bit angry. Or chances are that if you're kind of filling yourself with video games, maybe it's sometimes a form of escapism, which is absolutely cool. It's not a criticism, it's just an observation, and it could be totally wrong. That's just my hallucination that it might be like that. But the thing is, what you feed your mind with is ultimately the person you become. If you are constantly watching the news or reading newspapers or following those sort of social media accounts, then you are then basically creating your environment for yourself. So you're going to be more triggered, you're going to be more sensitive to certain topics because you're surrounding yourself with it all the time. So I always suggest to all of my clients is feed your mind and feed it daily with something positive, empowering or inspiring. It could be a beautiful story of someone who's overcome, unbelievable odds, or it could be, incredibly intelligent person who's got a new method of doing this or that, or maybe it's listening to a podcast of somebody who's interviewing someone who's a billionaire. What we need to do is create that environment that is going to push us towards our best self. Because if you're choosing things like the news, like video games, yes, that's okay now and again, but if that is your constant go-to choice, you are not then nourishing your mind. You're not forcing it to grow. Yes, you might get better at playing a video game, but in the whole scheme of things, unless you're obviously want to work in video games, and go for it. But in the whole scheme of things, that compared to reading, an empowering book or novel or listening to something empowering is not going to have the same effect. And it's also about surrounding yourself with positivity as well, and making the choice to create your own environment. Because that's my second tip, is choose positivity. And people will be like, oh, Hannah, that's fucking easy for you to say. yes, it is easy for me to say, because it genuinely is your choice. It's your choice whether you see things as positive or negative. It's your choice. If you couldn't think an unhelpful thought, you would always be happy. If you couldn't think a happy thought, you'd always be sad. Everything's a thought. So you can choose. You can choose to reframe it. A beautiful man called Wayne Dyer once said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And the thing is, we're so conditioned by our environment that we create for ourselves, that we sometimes make something that maybe isn't really massively negative into something that's massively negative. There's a phrase, isn't it, making a mountain out of a molehill. We tend to exacerbate the things that happen to us depending on the environment that we surround ourselves with. So it's about making the conscious decision to control your environment and be aware that you're responsible for your own thoughts and feelings. And my third tip, it sounds really cheesy, is come back to love. And I know that's really cliche, but it genuinely is the antidote to everything. Love, gratitude, peace, appreciation, all those things, they're all kind of antidotes. And it's not necessarily love for in an intimate relationship. If it is beautiful, if it's not, you can have love for yourself. You can have love for a family member. You can have love for a dog. You can have love there. And it's not about making some massive gesture, but always coming back to love. Because at the end of the day, when you leave this world, you don't have anything. You don't have all the things that you've worked hard for. You don't have anything material. You have nothing. So why not make that journey a loving one, as opposed to something where you're kind of constantly trying to strive or be better, which is beautiful. I love that if you're an achiever. I'm an achiever too, and I want things, and it's okay. But always come back. We're not on this world for a long time, so make it a loving place. So I hope that helps everybody. If it has, make sure you comment below. Let me know who you're watching from. That's always really interesting to know. And make sure you hit subscribe and hit that notifications bell. And I'll see you very soon.